What's up with the YouTube, man? It's your boy Rojo, Convict's Perspective, joined by my boy Big Falaco as always, and we're here with that 2 p.m. content, man. And today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about a long-time NF member, a long troubled career, man. He's currently in the ADX chilling with Big Corny, and it's Mr. Spider. You know, he really needs no introduction. He's been around a long time. He's been in and out of all the prisons, Pelican Bay, everywhere, man. And he's had some problems, man. We'll go back to when I was in Pelican Bay, and he was always on his last chance. You know what I'm saying? He would get out, he'd be fine. His prison career would be great. You know, he'd represent himself to the fullest, man. But he'd get out on the streets, and within a month, he'd fall back into those undesirable ways. You know, I think he had a problem. I'm pretty sure it's with the black, but it could have been something else. But he wouldn't last more than a month before, you know, kites started flying around the bay, and you know, this dude's this close to being put out to pasture. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know a lot of the specifics about this individual because it wasn't really my business at the time. But I do know that on more than one occasion, just while I was in the bay on my 2 terms, that he was, man, that close to having his career ended due to drugs on the streets and poor decision making. I know you know a lot about this dude Flacco, man, so I'm gonna pass it to you and let the audience know what you know about this man.
Well, everything you just said is everything that I've been told previously, pre-Black Widow. I was actually told that there was at one point where he was deemed no good by the organization, but somehow he kept on being brought back into good graces, being given a second chance. And I think a lot of that had to do with Widow Grattan at that time and all the issues and conflict that he was rising pre-Operation Black Widow. He ended up in the Bay. As we know, he got indicted in Operation Black Widow. I think he took about 10 or 12 years. I don't know a specific time frame, but he was one of the few individuals that took it all the way to where they all took deals. And so this is what people need to understand, okay? There was a time period where no one was allowed to take deals. Skip was the only one that was allowed to take a federal deal in the beginning, and that was for him to start recruiting. And once they found out that you had to do what you call an allocution or whatever, where you admit that you're a member of an organization, the feds put a mandate that no one was to take any type of plea bargaining because they wanted to expose all the informants, they wanted to do all that, and they wanted to take all this to trial. So at that time, a lot of people started taking deals and flipping. Some people took deals and were deemed no good just based upon the fact that they took deals at that time. And so he was one of the very few people along with like Stork, Happy, Bird, that ended up taking deals like 12 to 14 years at that time. And that was the whole purpose of Corny, Pinky, and Tips and all them taking their life sentences in the feds, because they were already doing life. They could have just took it to the box, wasted all the taxpayers' money. But what Corny and all them did is they took their life sentences so these guys could get their 12 to 14 years.
Right.
Because the deals were not on the table. And they wanted to do everything, you know what I mean, as one organization. So that's how everything transpired with them. So let's fast track. So he goes to the feds, you know, he was all over the place, man. Some of his actions were kind of questionable in there, man. He was always into some type of conflict when he was in there, man. There's a saying, someone told me that when he was over there in McCrary, that a TS actually told him, you wouldn't be doing that if Skip was here, by some of his conduct. And he made a comment that I'm the baby of the Familia. So, but let's go back actually before Black Widow, man. He played a pivotal role in the issues with Snoop, Maurice Vasquez. You know, I've heard the story out there on the streets that, you know what I mean, he burnt Snoop, and that was part of the issues. Besides the issue that Snoop had with K9, which everybody knows, they had a shootout or something like that. And they also Snoop put hands on K9, who was an NR member. There was also issue about Spider, who, when he paroled at that time, they were both out in the streets. And everybody knows Snoop does his thing out there. You know what I'm saying? Hustling, getting his money. He does get his money when he's out there. Everybody knows that. So Spider was calling him every day, you know, hey, what's up, Garnett, what's up? Like, and he's trying to get plugged with resources like every NF member out there in the street does. So he's looking at everybody that's making money. So apparently this is what I've been told was Spider ended up fronting him some D, right? I mean, no, Snoop fronted D, Spider some D. And Spider all of a sudden stopped calling him. stopped responding to him, called him 2 weeks later, oh, I got that for you, which is typical of everything that we've heard about this dude, that we've heard that Spider is a straight dope fiend. You know what I mean? Whether it was black or was a meth, he was getting high out there in the streets. Okay, so from there, what happened is he gets caught up. He goes to jail. They go to the county jail, and all this stuff started transpiring with Snoop when he gets rushed to try to hit him with an RB. He ends up knocking one dude out, slices the dude. Everybody knows the different stories about Snoop. He keeps on going from one place to another, and he ends up on the same tier I heard with Spider, and basically told Spider, when I see you out there, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Straight on the tier in front of everybody. And that's when he ended up going to the K-Wing yard and taking off, man. But there was numerous issues with Snoop where he got off many different times, man. They actually tried to move on him. Snoop, he ended up beating up the dude taking his RB. I think it was a cat named Solo, if I'm not mistaken, that ended up trying to get him with an RB, and Snoop ended up taking it from him, man. So that's where Snoop ended up getting crossed up, man, was between K9 and Spider Fabela. Everybody knows it. Those are all the issues that he had. So let's fast track to back now to Operation Black Widow. So Spider gets out there on the streets. He pros around 2011, I think, maybe 2010, man. I'm not so sure about the date, but everything is in alliance. As far as the state and feds were actually, they had communication a little bit at that time. There was no really split within the federal and state factions. It seemed like the state was doing everything kind of incognito on what they were doing. They were still in contact. And so when Spider got out, he was supposed to tap in and take over the Utah regiment. Okay. But instead of doing that, he started trying to maintain something in SACRA. He wasn't taking care of his duties and responsibilities. As we already know, Happy was put in charge of the Bay Area for the federal faction. He was to take care of the East Bay in particular, but they started to expand the whole Bay Area at that time. So by some of his actions out there in the streets, what he was doing was he was finding dudes that were on SMI, no good, degenerates, whatever you want to call them, right? As far as the titles. And he was offering them get backs if they fronted them dope. They gave him a pound of dope. I'll clear your name. So he was getting high, getting used, and he was running around out there, you know, all the fancy cars, basically booing a lot of people. He was basically like I did a spill about the Carnal Huichol, right, from Soho, who was very kind of a renegade out there in the streets, doing his thing all over the place, right? But he was also like a Lencho too. The dude was scandalous and corrupt in everything that he was doing, which ended up leading him into catching a federal indictment. Now, once he caught this federal indictment case, man, he was already having issues to where I believe Bird and Happy were already trying to put him on freeze for his actions. Somewhere along the lines, there was an allegation that actually Spider was so dope induced that he made a threat towards Bird and his family members at that time. You know what I mean? Now, that's the rumor. Don't quote me, right? But this came from a couple reliable sources on Spider, right? Also, while he was on the streets, he tried to press up on a dude named, I think, Chucky or Chunky or something like that. The dude pistol whipped Spider in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows about that out there in SACRA. In addition to that, man, he was so highly induced, man, when he was trying to do home invasions and all that, man, he would tell the youngsters, man, I'm going to go run up in there. I'm going to do this, man. I'm going to take all the bullets. So this dude was just out there, bro. You know what I mean? 10 years gone, he's back out there, he's fixing, he's doing meth, he's doing all this stuff, man. That he's out there not functioning like a carnal, he's actually functioning out there like a damn renegade. You know what I'm saying? Now, from there, he catches a case around 2012, right? And so he started putting mandates on those that caught cases with him, that they couldn't bail out, that they couldn't take plea deals. All these stipulations, right? He was deeming people no good that didn't comply with all the directives that he was given, when at that time he was already on freeze for not taking care of business for the O, right? And what does he do afterwards? He ends up taking a damn deal. You know what I'm saying? So
I've never heard of anybody telling somebody they can't bail out before, bro. That's crazy. I'm bailing out, straight up.
Man,
You know,
man,
no, bro, no.
You know, I mean, anybody from out there, everything that we've just discussed, man, there's probably going to be a little bit of discrepancies, you know what I mean,
Right.
of how we interpret it or how we heard it. But for the most part, it's really an accurate story of him. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he touched or got involved in, it's like he did damage control and deemed people no good to save his own ass, to cover his own tracks. It's like the same issue that happened with Snoop. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people out there, I've talked to people who don't believe in Snoop's plight. They don't believe in his movement. They don't believe in all that, right? But they've all said the same thing, that he actually got the bat and the stick by getting crossed up with Spider and K9. You know what I'm saying? That he had a bad experience because of these individuals, which makes sense. And everything that we've heard about these individuals, Spider's a cross between the story I told on Huicho from Sajo and Lencho and Dancing Bear.
Hey, I'll
Now,
tell you one thing that I heard real quick, Flacco, that I just remembered, man, because like I said, I don't know a lot about this individual, but when I was in Tracy in the hole in like, it was either 07 or 08, probably the middle of 08, right before I got out, I ran across this Nazi lowrider dude. He was out of Rancho Cordova in Sacramento. And he was an all right dude. You know, I was talking to him through the vent and whatnot. And man, I still maintain contact with him to this day, bro. And not too long ago, a couple years ago, I guess Spider was actually going through them to get weight, which is weird. You know, I found that really odd, you know, that he was going through the Nazi lowriders. But I mean, if you're working, you're working. I mean, I don't know like how they would feel about that as a group nowadays, but that just seemed kind of odd to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask him more about that. I'm gonna give him a call later, but I know for sure, definitely Spider was definitely getting product for a while directly from, not like middleman, not from them dudes, and I find that really really odd.
you want to hear something funny?
Sure,
The
I'm in the
dude was
mood
on
for a laugh.
the dude was on a conference call. You know what I mean? Talking about regiment NF business, right? And he did not realize, okay, people who don't realize, okay, up until 2017, the state and feds were kind of like this. They were kind of still communicating. They were respecting each other's regiments. It even says it in the True Filter that when Bubbles got out, everybody fell in line, both federal and state seas, and they were taking care of business. You know what I mean? Certain people were put in charge and whatnot of the state facilities, and everything was still connected. They were still running parallel, and that's what's been told to me by other individuals that got out the feds. It wasn't until about 2017 things started to change. Now, they said that he was actually on a conference call, because they used to do that with other prisons because they have their cell phones, right? Around 2012 or whatnot. I forgot what year it was. And maybe he was on a federal phone. I mean, maybe he was on a federal phone and they did a three-way to where they didn't realize he was talking smack about DC. Talking about DC can't even remember his name. He has dementia and all this stuff. DC was actually on the damn phone the whole time, man. That's a confirmed fact right there. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type of dude, man. Everything that he does, man, he kind of spins out of control. He causes a lot of havoc. He causes a lot of questions, and he's always been put on free several times, man. And somehow he always makes it back, which tells me that there must be a particular Familiano that holds him in some type of regard or looks at him like a pupil or a student to keep on giving them one chance after another. It's kind of like Dancing Bear and Lencho. Everybody used to question, well, how come are they being given so many chances? Because a lot of these people that have claims and allegations against him are no longer active because he deemed them all no good. You know what I mean? Damage control. He was able to have people deem no good. Anybody that posed any type of threat to his actions for what his activities, he was able to deem no good. So they hear everything in the grapevine about what he's doing out there on the streets, right? But it ends up being something totally different, man. Like by then, these dudes are no longer in good graces. They've already flipped. They've already been deemed. And at the same token, we already know this. And I brought this up in the last video. An NF member out there in the streets, whether he's abusing his authority or not, if he's not abusing anybody within the O or benefits the O, no one's going to give a damn what he's doing out there in the streets. That's a damn fact. And people don't realize that, man. It's all about that. He was kicking in money to everywhere he was supposed to be. Only thing was, is he was supposed to go take care of the regiment in Utah, yet he was running around Sacramento. And he was also, okay, look at this. He was also bumping heads at that time when he got out, I believe, with Pizza, who's from Stockton, who was just came out the state. Now they're in the feds and they have to get along. You get what I'm saying?
Hey, you know, throughout history, bro, there's two kind of problems that always come back, man. The homies that use drugs and the homies that abuse their authority. Those are the two major problems everywhere. And I've seen a lot of, man, a lot of good people. Like, I don't know Spider personally, so I can't speak on his character. I only know hearsay and third party information for the most part. You know, what I've read on filters, I will deem accurate just because who wrote them. But man, like, take for example, you know, another individual with drugs. It's a good person. It's like Lucho Montalvo from Hayward. Dope ass person, cool as hell, bro. Soon as he gets out, man, he could do 4 months. He could do 4 years. First thing you do is go get the bag. That is so counterproductive.
Yeah.
I never understood why you're down all this time. Like in back, especially in my time when everybody went to the shoe. There's not really drugs in the shoe. You would be a one in a once a year type of thing at most if you could get your hands on some product in there. Because everybody's so segregated and you're searched and everything's so thoroughly, whatever. You could have something in the vault, yeah, and get through. I don't know if they got body scanners nowadays, but when I went through, it was just like the airport metal detector and then a wand. You just weren't getting
Yeah.
through no metal. You could get rid of the other, you could get through with other stuff. I just never understood, you know, me being that, you know, don't get me wrong, y'all. I say I don't do drugs and I don't, but I have done them as a teenager. And I just never understood why you would be down clean, doing burpees, eating well, educating yourselves for a decade, bro, a whole decade. And the first thing you do with your gate money is get some drugs, bro. Knowing, not knowing for one, you know what's bad for you, you know what's gonna happen to you, you've been there and done that. But knowing for two, these people are they're gonna get you. You know what I mean? A few people slip through the cracks. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously Spider, you know, Lucho did for a long time before they finally said hell with them. You know what I mean? But bro, drugs are a horrible downfall for that group. And I can see if you get in and you do a 30-day violation, you still got that Jones to get loaded, whatever. I understand to a point. You know, drugs aren't my thing, but I understand. But why are you going to be down 10 years and the first thing you do is not only destroy yourself, but possibly get killed by your own people for something that you're not craving no more? I don't care what they say about addiction after 10 years. You don't need that shit. 10 years, come on, bro. And that's a big downfall, bro. That's a huge downfall. When they recruit people with their whole criminal history is possession and public intoxication, possession. You obviously haven't learned. You're not going to change. Only 2 out of what, every 100 people are going to change, maybe? Like, come on, man. You're asking for problems with them people.
But see, he's left. See, think about how many times he's been able to be an authority figure of his county jail and other places like that, where he's left to his own devices to where he could just deem people randomly who he has issues with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's been able to salvage his career that way. Everybody knows it. Like I said, man, and you know, not to say anything like I support Snoop's movement or anything like that, which you know, I mean, I have no opinion. I don't really care. I'm not into that. I'm into a whole different way of changing lives. But he played a major factor into Snoop being who he is today. You know what I'm saying? People don't talk about that. You know, he'd be on the yard bragging so much that he doesn't even show respect to other Cat 1NF members, and he'll brag and boast and say, "Oh, they're just Cat 1NF members. They don't know shit." That's the type of dude he is. You know what I'm saying? Randomly around other Northerners and then soldados. So he doesn't even know how to keep C biz. We even have that video, right? Which the recording we dropped about 5 months ago, where he's exposing everything about what's going on between the Bay and the Feds and about Pelucas and Bubba and all Operation Valley Star. And you know what I mean? He doesn't know when to quit. You know about his communications he's supposed to have? He couldn't live to any of those responsibilities. So it's a wonder why he's still in good graces, man. You know?
Hey, you know what, Flacco? I'm going to tell you what. Does he have a date now? He has a date, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's a lot of time though.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I wouldn't be surprised, bro, if he's got like some cleanup coming still, and the opportunity just hasn't presented itself. Because them dudes that he's in there with, they don't forget. I promise you, they don't forget.
True.
They don't forget
True.
nothing. And you know, you seen the recent, you know, Cuete involvement and whatever. If I would say that this individual will be the first one with something asked of him should the opportunity arise.
Not to digress off topic, right? But that was the issue too that they were bringing up about Cuete in there. They said that he had to put in some work. You know what I'm saying? Before this whole tip situation, man, he was being treated almost to the level of an soldado in there, even though he was a C, because he had yet to clean up his mess in the past. So that's a prime example of what you're saying, man. You know, people don't understand that. You know, sometimes you'll keep people around because you know that they're going to do what you tell them to do. You know what I mean? The dude most definitely will go out there and handle his business. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it was comical when they talk about that dude Chucky, whatever his name is from SACRA, that just pistol whipped him in the mouth, man. He didn't do nothing about it, man. Mr. Big Time NF member trying to press up on everybody, and he got a taste of his own medicine out there. You know, he was out there like I said, when you think of people who, you know, it's just think of giving a dope fiend the authority and status and just go ahead and run the streets. This is your territory. That's exactly what you have with Spider, man. Exactly, to a T.
Hey, throughout history, though, there's been a lot of people who, I don't know any other better way to say this than hide behind being a member. You know, that just they're not cut out as individuals to uphold certain things. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got your dancing bears, bro. Dancing bear would have been, hey, with all due respect, I'd have slapped the shit out of him if he wasn't a C the way he came at me. I'd have straight smacked him in his mouth. And that's no lie, that's straight up. But he was who he was, and you can't do that. That'll get me whacked. You know what I mean? I don't know Lencho personally, but same kind of dude. People will hide behind that and abuse it and abuse it and abuse it, bro. And I've never liked that, bro. I've always hated them.
Bro, I couldn't see you saying we're gonna go kick in this door, and if they start shooting, I'm gonna take all the bullets. I'm going first. I couldn't see you saying that, man. We'd be, you know what I mean? What kind of thinking is that? That's the type of, he actually said that. That's the kind of JCat mentality this dude has, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's a shame, bro. I hate abusive authority, bro. I do not like it. I never condoned it. I never did it. You know, for you to get on the list in my time, you had to beg for it, bro. You know what I mean? Other groups, not so much. I had no tolerance for other groups. I didn't care about them, whatever. But like our own homeboys and shit, and our own associates, our own people, man, you really had to beg me to get into a wreck, dude, because I'd rather be lenient than be a dictator at any time, because I'd rather be respected than feared. And that's what a good leader does, bro. You don't walk around deem, oh, we're gonna take this homeboy stuff. Nah, because there's homeboys on the streets that just because they ain't no NF members, they'll peel your cap, bro. You ain't taking none of their shit. You got them fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna run across them dudes. They don't give a shit about that. They'll slap you one. You know what I mean?
You know what's a trip, bro, that they've in the last 15 years. You know what's a trip, bro, is that back in the 90s when you'd be around NF members and NR members, there was a level of respect, even of acknowledging your elders or whatever the higher authority in charge, right? A C would never try to act like he was superior in his status, even though you knew he was. You know what I'm saying? The respect was there. The communications were there. Nowadays, though, it's a little bit different to where you have individuals like Spider, like other individuals who hide behind their status and say, well, I'm NF, you're just a Northerner. I'm NF, you're just an soldado. I'm an soldado, you're just a Northerner. Those are the common phrases that you hear today. So people, what I've always called that is you're hiding behind a bandera. The NF bandera that was put in work for years ago. Now, because you've acquired some status, you're using your status to represent you instead of you representing that status. Right. And that's the problem that you have nowadays is there's a lot of dudes I know that I've heard that are C's today, which surprises me, man. I'm like, how the hell did they get pulled? And the first thing I'm hearing is that they're telling people, oh, I'm not a Northern or Northern, I'm a C, I'm an F, I'm a Canam. I mean, why, because you've obtained some type of authority, are you going to belittle your own people? Why are you going to make them feel inferior? You know what I'm saying? Why are you going to act superior? Because you hold that status. That status is supposed to be a privilege. It's supposed to be an honor. You're supposed to represent it and show those the enlightenment, not try to act like you're better than them. But that's what you're experiencing now, as opposed to like 20, 25, 30 years ago. When we were first going in the system, I'd be around hella C's. I remember there'd be hella C's when I was just a Northerner that put me under their wing and walked me around and laced me up. And I wouldn't even know that they were an NF member. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. You would never, they would never mistreat their gente. Well, I'm gonna see now people are hiding behind their statuses and rank. Instead of it being an equal playing field to where, you know, there's those that have authority, there's those that have status, and they're going to take care of that in a professional way. Now you got these dudes, man, they just want to be that guy. They want to be John Gotti. They want the recognition, but they don't want to put the work in, yet they want to put down their own people. And sometimes they're putting down people that on their best day, they won't even put a fucking fight towards that person.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, the first time I rolled up to the hole in Quentin in the 6-yard, right? I was with Big Box. I was with Big Smiley. You know what I'm saying? I was with Pocky. I was with Chente. I was with Fish. I was with DK, right? The only one, and Chico Rose. The only ones I knew were C's were obviously Big Smiley and Chico, and I only knew Chico because he had the tattoo on his side.
On his stomach. Yeah, his stomach right there, the NF tattoo.
Hey, I always thought Boxer was a bro. He was a C the whole time.
Hey,
Machina. Hey, Pocky, all them dudes, hey, they were never like, we're in there. They weren't like that, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you a story about Chico Rose, right? So we're out there in the streets, bro.
Shout
you know,
we're
no, not that story, but we're at my house, right? We have a big old house party and everything, right? He's going by the name on the street. He's using a tier name on the street, a street name. He's going by Soldier, right?
Yeah.
That was his nickname. So as soon as he gets high, he's smoking hella weed. As soon as he gets drunk, you know what ends up happening? He starts taking off his shirt, trying to show the NF tattooed on his side, on his stomach. You know what I mean? And all the girls are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You motherfucker, hey, much love to Chico. That's my boy. I have stories about Chico that I cannot put on the public platform, man. But I was like, oh, this fucking dude, man. You know what I mean?
I've only been mad at Chico once ever. He disciplined me for some bullshit, but he's a
Chico
good dude,
was cool,
bro.
man. Hey,
Hey, all
man,
them dudes,
man.
hey, like you say, you go back 25 years, all them dudes I was on the yard with the first time, man, everybody thinks Boxer's this big asshole even. Boxer was cool, bro. He was stern. You know what I mean? He followed the rules, but he was cool though, bro. He wasn't trying to abuse you. He did the exact same thing he asked of you. We're going to do 222 counts. Well, guess what? Boxer's doing 222 counts as well. Big Smiley's doing 222 counts. Hockey, Chente, DK, Fish, Chico, all of them are doing burpees. They're not walking around funny. Everybody's playing basketball together. They're not like, oh, you guys got to stand over there. This is NF shit. Yeah, they had their juntas and shit, but that's just the way it is because there's certain business, there's certain people's business, and there's certain obviously. But they were all cool, bro. They weren't all funny. Big Smiley wasn't all funny. You know what I mean?
Rojo, they started having their juntas in the corners while we were still in formation before the yard would be secured back in the days, bro. Lencho started implementing that, bro. Real talk, bro.
He's a sack of shit. Him and DB were together, bro. They were a couple.
Yeah.
You know, 2 peas in a pod. You know, they may as well been married. But yeah, bro, times have changed. Times are gonna continue to change. My thing is, some people get breaks, some people don't. If you're not in this gang lifestyle, you don't got to worry about if you're going to get whacked, if you're going to be on the BNL, if you're going to get a RICO indictment. You're not going to need to worry about none of that stuff. Go out there, get you a job, take care of your family. Be a down homie for your homies. You know what I mean? But once you start elevating your status, you guys know, we told you many times, there's 4 ways you can go: death, prison, snitch, or get killed. You know what I'm saying? Be ostracized. That's it. Anyway, that's a little bit about the homie Spider. Hopefully he makes it. I don't wish ill on anybody except Dancing Bear, and he's gone. So have a good day, YouTube. This is your boy Rojo, Big Flacco, Convicts Perspective, and you'll probably see us live tonight, 7, 8 o'clock, so stay tuned.